Welcome back to Tarot by the Bay. I'm David. Okay, recording this at about 7:45, 7:45 p.m. Pacific time, September 10th. The big news of the day was that Charlie Kirk was shot and died of his wound earlier today. Just as an update, when I recorded that video, the reporting was that there was a suspect in custody and they didn't know if he was going to live or not. Well, he passed from those injuries, and at least one, if not two, suspects were arrested, interrogated, and then released by police. I think they have another person of interest, but that person, at least as of this time, is not in custody. Some of the Republican lawmakers are blaming Democrats. Trump is out there saying that it's this inflammatory rhetoric towards political opposition, and then proceeded to demonize the crazy socialist Democrats. So, that's on point. He says that demonization, remember, that happened on the campaign trail. He's telling Kamala to tone down the rhetoric, yet he's the one inflaming everybody around him. MAGA is very upset, or at least portions of MAGA are very upset. They feel this had to be a Democrat that did this, and for them, this is war. They want to use their pew-pews so badly that they're willing to blame a group of people, even though we don't know who the shooter is. We don't know the gender. We're assuming male. We don't know their political affiliations, their relationships with Charlie Kirk. Was this a lone wolf thing? Was this an assassination? Was it a conspiracy? We don't know any details whatsoever. But one group of people is very sure it's another group of people. Now, in my video I did earlier today, I said I thought it was likely that it was a Democrat. I want to walk that back. I really have no idea if it was or not. And in one way, I want to walk it back because if it was somebody it was like a heat of the moment passion crime, I don't think they would have shown up with a long gun set up on a building 100, 200 yards away, or however far away they were, and take him down with more like a sniper type thing. If somebody were crazed, they might more likely do it with a handgun and then put multiple shots into the person up close. There's a planning and a cunning to this that it doesn't fit a crime of passion. This is much more premeditated. The other part I want to throw in there is that there was a school shooting in Colorado, and 3 students were shot. 2 students were shot and injured. The shooter turned the gun on themselves and killed themselves. So, lost in the story today of Charlie Kirk is another school shooting. Charlie Kirk famously said that people needed to be unalived on occasion, and we just needed to accept that in order to maintain the Second Amendment and our right to have guns to defend ourselves so that other of our rights aren't taken away. That's great and everything, and I think usually as you play the lottery, you expect that somebody else is going to be the one that suffers the ending of their life due to gun violence. Well, Charlie Kirk won the lottery on this one, as the case may be. But I want to read on the energy of the USA right now as it relates to politics, political violence, gun violence, that sort of thing. More like resolving your issues using gun violence. That's kind of where I'm going with it. Because I want to be able to address the Charlie Kirk thing, but I also want to address the school shooting in Colorado in this spread. So I want to get sort of the vibe on the U.S. as it relates to the gun incidents that happened today on September 10th. Come on down. This is a reading for entertainment purposes only. The foundation of the reading is judgment. Trying to wake people up, trying to get people to rise to the cause. crossed with 8 of coins. So much work that needs to be done. And this is like work that's been delayed, work that it's a lot of work, it's important work, but it's been diminished by those who need to do it. Congress writes the laws of this country. And lobbying has gotten in the way of Congress doing their job and constantly waters down the initiatives. So in some ways, this is a condemnation of the NRA and the gun lobby, that they are the ones truly that are preventing common sense gun legislation from going through, because money and politics. In the past, you got the Two of Wands. There have been efforts to your Second Amendment. There have been efforts to control things. Some have gone through with the Brady Bill back when Reagan was shot in 1981 or so. But that's in the past. The lobbies have gotten stronger and just fight everything. Current situation is the Five of Cups, the minor death card. And they've been succeeding. Anytime we've had a mass shooting, the Democrats want to go forward with common sense gun laws, background checks, eliminating certain firearms that the public doesn't need to have. And all they're given is, no, all we can do is thoughts and prayers. Which is why when a prominent conservative or right-wing person is unalived through gun violence, the commenters will very sarcastically say thoughts and prayers, or in the case of our 47th president, clots and prayers, that sort of thing, because they're angry and they're frustrated that whenever they try and do something that will help people live life more safely, the pursuit of happiness, your pursuit of happiness should mean that you don't have to worry about somebody gunning you down. We didn't have gun drills when I was a kid. We had nuclear weapon drills, as ridiculous as those were going to be. But, school shooting, our kids shouldn't have to go through this. We've gone through it enough. Overarching energy is the King of Swords. Energy in the USA. There has to be this energy, this take charge energy that says enough is enough on this. Will this be enough to do it? Probably not. But people need to be fed up with this and actually want to do something about it. The lesson to be learned is the Five of Swords. Winner takes all, no compromise. And that's kind of the problem we're at right now. The Second Amendment crowd refuses to compromise on anything. It's funny because one of the things that Trump tried to say was that trans people shouldn't be allowed to have guns, and this was has to do with the shooting of the children in a church a few weeks ago, and the person who did the shooting was trans, and it's funny. When Charlie Kirk was shot, the question right before it was, how many trans mass shooters have there been? And he gave some sarcastic answer, and the person said 5. And then they said, do you know how many mass shootings there have been over this certain time period? And Charlie Kirk said, gang-related or non-gang-related. And that's when you heard the crack. You saw him get hit in the throat and hear the crack almost simultaneously, and then he falls back. Lost my train of thought here. Trump wants to take guns away. When a trans person shoots somebody, Trump wants to take away their rights because he's hating on trans people right now, and the Second Amendment crowd says, nah, they're defending them, which is the proper thing to do because they're saying that trans people are mentally deficient. But when you do have people that are mentally deficient, the Second Amendment crowd isn't taking those guns away. And I'm not saying the shooter falls into that category. I don't know. We don't know who the shooter is. but it makes it difficult. This high school student who shot two of their classmates and killed themselves, what type of emotional issues were they going through? Should they have had access to a gun? That sort of thing. It's like they tout about AI, but AI would probably be able to predict this. There might be some good things that come out of AI eventually here. The tools used correctly. Outcome is the Ten of Swords. Unfortunately, I feel like even though there's a wake-up call that's being given about the work that needs to be done, it's just going to die a death just like previous ones. Now, for Lucky, well, it may die now, but it may get reborn later on with some type of unity against gun violence. But honestly, if Sandy Hook wasn't enough to do it, if the Pulse nightclub shooting wasn't enough to do it, if the shooting just the other day at the church wasn't enough to do it, Columbine wasn't enough to do it, what's going to be enough? I don't know the answer to that, and I can't picture what the answer is. You sit here wringing our hands in anxiety, and one of the obvious and worst answers for it is, well, if Trump becomes a totalitarian and authoritarian government, the authoritarian governments don't like people to have guns, so the government would start confiscating people's firearms. That might be enough to get Trump supporters and MAGA really upset with Trump, because we know they love their guns more than anything else in the world. Or they might be true patriots and give up their guns, and then maybe we live in a society without them. I don't know how this works. Australia was able to do it, but man, they seem exceptional in that regard. Currently, Republicans are dealing with this shooting in a church and shooting of a far-right provocateur. What's the energy around the Republican Party right now as this goes? Page of Pentacles. The effing thoughts and prayers, man. Always with the thoughts and prayers. But they have a choice to make. They could choose something different. They're going to offer up thoughts and prayers. Underneath it all is an agreement. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe there's a hope. Maybe there's hope that something bipartisan can come up. Heartbreak and betrayal. They don't like it. And really, it's got to be their constituents that start pressuring them. Queen of Pentacles. Again, talking about like common sense gun laws. It doesn't have to be everything. But the problem is the Second Amendment crowd sees everything as a slippery slope. And that's where I think the real key issue is you've got to sort of drive the point home that it's not, that Five of Swords, it's not all or nothing. You can do this. Young people that aren't stable, it's okay to make them wait. Lesson be learned is the Nine of Swords, the anxiety. How many more people have to have a loved one killed and deal with this? Outcome is the Empress. There's a chance. I mean, there's a chance. This allows for a conversation to do something sensible for families. Wouldn't it be amazing if Charlie Kirk's widow becomes a huge anti-gun, or I should say, a huge background check advocate. Gun safety, sensible gun laws advocate. Out of Charlie Kirk's toxic brand, something nice grows out of it. It could happen. It could happen. It may not happen, but it could happen. How about Democrats, or those on the left who do want common sense gun control out of this, who don't want to see another church shooting, another school shooting. Only a 4-carder for them, because I have a pretty good idea where we're going with this. The Lover's card. Maybe I'll give them the full thing. Coming together. But they know there's a fight. There's just so much resistance to this. I don't want to say they're celebrating Charlie Kirk being brought down, but let's say that as these events, the unaliving of people happens and it's impacting rural America, red America, that sort of thing, it gives energy to the thought of doing stuff to stop this. In the past, you got the Four of Swords, kind of laying low. They've been quiet on it. It's often been a strength of the Democratic Party, but it's almost like this is a time to maybe bring it up. I don't think this Congress is going to do anything, but this could be something that, again, could be part of their platform that they run on. Overarching energy is the High Priestess. There's a timing with this. Maybe some information comes out that plays to their strengths, but there's a time, but it's also a compassion that goes with this. But you're fighting against money. Dark money. Yeah, it's like they have to get rid of the dark money out of politics in order to have a fighting chance at this. Until they get the big donors, the NRA, or Russia putting money through the NRA in the dark money, until you can get rid of that, you're not going to resolve this problem. I do believe the gun control advocates are on the right side of history. They've got the right idea. They just don't have the right environment. The timing's not there. The timing never seems to be there. But again, as more conservatives fall victim to this type of violence, the more likely they'll listen to common sense type gun control issues. Poor Carter, will Congress do anything about this? I'm throwing this just to avoid the obvious assumption that I would have with something like this. Will Congress do something like this? I'm upside down, sorry. Nope, they're going to let this pass. Put it to bed. Interesting. Nine of Wands. Looking over this, they're worried about other things. I think, again, the Epstein files are the bigger concern here. I almost want to say that this is Epstein file related. Are they going to do anything? No. It's like, because I'm saying, like, something's being put to rest that the Attorney General would see, but there's still a push to get this thing that's at rest released. And the Republicans know it's coming, and they have to prep for it. Will they do anything about this? No, this is all about knowing that this is switching gears. This is switching gears, saying the Epstein files are coming. This will be a delay, but it's not a big delay on it. Gary and I just did a reading on this one, and I got a Two of Wands card on that one. I don't think it'll be 2 days. I think it's going to be 2 weeks feels more right. Not even 2 months. I think it'll delay Epstein documents released by about 2 weeks. But in 2 weeks' time, there's a couple special elections for Democrats for the House in very blue districts that Kamala Harris carried. And that will give... There's already 216 signatures on the resolution to bypass Mike Johnson and put it to a floor vote. They need 2 more. And when these Democrats get elected, like they should, that's the 2 they need to make it to 218. And then it gets voted on. Spirit for Carter, anything else we need to know about the current gun violence in the United States? Queen of Cups. Keeping your emotions in check or letting them explode. Page of Swords, young people, Empress taking care of them, everybody, the life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Change. Four of Swords. I think there's a quiet change going on here. It's interesting. It's almost like the gun debate and the Epstein files overlap, because I can read this as Epstein too. There's a hushed, quiet change that's going on here. You know, whether it's moms and kids protesting, but there's a change afoot. The reason why I say there's an overlap with Epstein is like they've got a lid on it now, but you've got women and girls, and the shift is changing as the divine feminine is coming in here. And I think like the divine, it's quietly coming. There's quiet change coming. It's a quiet storm that's coming up on us. And maybe that's what you need, is a quiet storm to stop the violent storm that's raging all around us right now. Thank you everyone for watching this video and supporting my channel. I appreciate it. This reading is for entertainment purposes only, but I hope you found it insightful, and I'll catch you on the next video. Take care.